Maria Caulfield.
Gary, it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I'd like to congratulate the Honourable Member for Coventry North West for securing this very important debate. But just to start off slightly by disagreeing with her, because in the constituency of Lewes, we did actually have a very good system of a local plan in place, and nearly every town and parish in the district of Lewes had neighbourhood plans which were voted on by local people, put together by local parish councillors, and were delivering our housing numbers in the right place with the right type of accommodation, enabling older people to stay in their communities by downsizing, and young families start off their lives in their communities with starter homes. Our issue is in 2019, the Lib Dem Greens took over the District Council and let that local plan go out of date. And with it, the 5-year land supply, and with it, all the neighbourhood plans have fallen. And since then, we have been inundated with applications from developers who seize the opportunity to target every single Greenfield site in the constituency to put in housing developments. And while the Local Planning Authority have refused most of those because on the principle they're not in the local plan, they're not in the neighbourhood plan, they are being overturned almost on a daily basis by the planning inspector, as my honourable friend from Eastbourne has suggested. And the inaction of our local council, squabbling over housing numbers, but meanwhile not having a local plan in place, means that our communities, our parishes and our town councils that worked so hard to accept the housing numbers that they were given are being left to face the consequences. I won't, just with the time that's left, I'm afraid. And it's not fair, because the housing that is being built on those sites, they're not affordable for local families. They're £400,000 for a starter home. They're 3-4 bedroom homes, which don't allow our older residents to downsize and stay, or our new young families to start off in their communities. It's not the right housing. We were trying to build communities, not just homes, and the system has failed us. So I've got 7 key asks of the Minister. Many members have raised this. The Brownfield First strategy, which was highlighted by the previous Prime Minister and was hinted at by our current Prime Minister, we need clarity on that. In Lewes Town, we had the Phoenix Quarter, which would have delivered thousands of new homes. The government gave the council there £1 million to start that scheme off. Not a brick has been built on that site, and meanwhile our greenfields are being concreted over. We need to be able to force local councils to get their local plans in place. It cannot be right that we had a plan in place that delivered the housing numbers and the housing that our communities wanted, and because they're squabbling over housing numbers, that local plan is not happening and they're a hostage to fortune. It's the same in the Wealdon district of my constituency that I share with my honourable friend for Eastbourne. They've never had a local plan, and they're holding out for the government to either scrap housing numbers or deliver a different housing strategy. And meanwhile, every greenfield is open to challenge from developers. The standard method, as my right honourable friend from South Staffordshire touched on, I've had letters from previous housing ministers saying it's not a target, it's just an indication. But local councils don't feel confident enough to take that, because when they take it to appeal, the planning inspector doesn't uphold that view. And the 2014 housing numbers that form that standard method, as have been highlighted, are just inaccurate and out of date. We do need to take the heat out of the South East, and I'm sure honourable members maybe across the chamber may not agree with me, but we are talking about applications in their thousands, not their hundreds. We've got GPs who have closed their lists because they can't cope, schools that are full, roads that are congested, and we just are not building the housing at the end of the day that helps our local communities, and residents have had enough. The land banking issue. Oliver Letwin did a review a couple of years ago and said there was no problem, nothing to see here, folks. Well, actually, I agree with the Honourable Lady for York Central. I agree with my honourable friend for Eastbourne. Wealdon District have 8,000 properties or units that have planning permission, but because they're mainly on brownfield sites, it's cheaper, quicker and easier for developers to challenge the councils, win at appeal and build on greenfield sites instead. And we absolutely need to support our local planning authorities, because when, in the case of Mornings Mill, they have refused it twice and it's gone to appeal and not defended because of cost, not because of the principles of the decision. What is the point of having planning authorities? We might as well just give the decision to planning inspectors in the first place, because we have tried to build the housing that we were required to do. We did our local plan, we did our neighbourhood plan, and when decisions are overturned by democratically elected councillors, it cannot be right. Developers have the money and the legal expertise to be able to win on every single case. And finally, the issue of local plans and 5-year land supplies going out of date. Does it really need to be years just to keep those plans up to date? They were good plans. There's only a couple of sites that didn't come to fruition. It should take months to be able to revamp that and keep those local plans and the legal protections that they provide for our constituencies. The odds are stacked against our communities at the moment. We need the Minister to help. We want to build housing, but the right type of housing for our communities and build communities and not just homes.